Hello and welcome back to Exeter City. It's been a darn old while since I've said those words. For you, not so much, because I set those up for whilst I was away, but for me, it's been almost 3 weeks. Still, I played through, got myself reacquainted. Let's get into it. I'll also explain the hilarious amount of continuity errors in regards to my uploads over the past week and a bit. My haircut will be all over the place, along with possibly the camera quality. Not fully certain when I got the new camera, but last time out would have been our comeback victory over Leipzig. I was followed by 2 further victories against Wolves and Brighton. Wolves in the FA Cup to set up a Man City semi-final, which may just have to be the next episode because I'm not splitting these, sticking with just doing Milan both sides. And it's Ramiro Uribe, the hero of those 2 games. 2 goals against Wolves and 1 against Brighton. Quite frankly, a salvage job. Nearly ran away with that with a draw, and quite frankly, we need the 3 points. Brentford surprisingly close on our heels in 7th, ourselves and Man City in European spots, and Everton, Liverpool, Man United and Arsenal in the top 4. Chelsea still terrible. Newcastle, unsurprisingly, did worse with a worse manager than Conte. Why they sacked Conte at the beginning of the season, I've no idea, but the man who took over, done even worse. But we can still possibly nick into that 4th spot. It's only 5 points that difference, but 7 games remain. I'm not confident. First, we've got to deal with AC Milan and Bournemouth in between, which I'll play but not show. And how can I not reward Uribe for his performances in the last couple of games? Avalos will be in goal for this. The fact that Sanchez played a few extra games whilst Avalos was having contract issues means Avalos will take over for this particular cup game. Small is back to play, which is great news because poor Stuart Smith has been run off his feet in recent weeks. Morato, Ampadu, Castillo right back because Tiberio is suspended. Markovic and Hesham in the middle. I don't know why that still says roaming playmaker. That experiment hasn't gone well. Or maybe it has. I thought I switched it back to advanced playmaker against Brighton, but apparently not. Szymanski, Fernandez, Eduardo, Uribe. Oh, I did, but I changed it to next match only. That's why. We'll leave it as roaming because actually it seemed to work against Wolves at least. And Leipzig for that matter. And I don't have a single defender on my bench. Nearly entered that game like that. As you can see though there, from the litany of changes now blurred out, we did rotate quite heavily against Brighton, which is part of the reason why we possibly struggled, but should have been more than enough to deal with that. Theo Hernandez still at AC Milan, probably one of the most surprising things, as is Mike Maignan and Tomori for that matter. Leao, Diaz, they've got Julian Alvarez. I'm just surprised at how many of these players are actually AC Milan players. Bear in mind this is 2029. They've held on to Hernandez, Tomori, Diaz and Leao for 7 years. They line up with a surprising 4-4-2. No 5 at the back for them. Of course, we'll be playing in blue today, away at the San Siro. They'll be playing in their red and black. That's Raspadori back to Theo Hernandez. I now realise they probably should have changed their kits, but I don't really want to touch them ever again. Alvarez with an excellent save there, actually, and that was the highlight. It looked like it was... Well, that threw me off. It looked like it was about to continue, but it didn't. Another throw-in for AC Milan, and we've not really seen much of this game so far. 18 minutes on the clock, just that one shot. Mike Maignan forward to Tomori. How old is Mike Maignan in 2029? I know goalkeepers can obviously run a lot older. Alvarez is through the middle, and I don't like this. That's why. Yeah, already not pleased. Alvarez just straight through the middle. No questions asked. I'm concerned that it's happened twice already. Switching to the slightly less aggressive version of the formation. Szymanski on the corner. Seems to have already yielded some form of result because we've actually had an attack at some point. We've gone through the first 25 minutes without a shot, I feel like. Apparently Avalos made a mistake in that goal. I don't think he did. Theo Hernandez, straight across to Thierry Small, Szymanski, Markovic. I'm marginally annoyed that I'm having to use Thierry Small and Castillo in this very important game, but alas, Aaron Martin's still injured and Tiberio suspended. Out to Castillo again, although he's about to prove me wrong maybe. Castillo with the ball into the box, Carlos Eduardo with the worst header he's ever done, or tamest header he's ever done, I should say. Mike Maignan, back forward, Ampadu down to Markovic, and that's nicely played. Ciro Fernandez is in, and that's an excellent block. Nearly went in still, but Josip Sitalo, old friend, of course, Sitalo. Both the Sitalos are old friends now. Didn't really make much of this, but old friend of the channel. Had him at Tenerife. Small's playing well, though, so that's the one minor grace. And again, a 1-0 loss away from home. We've seen we can deal with that. I'll tell them they've been terrible, which has demotivated Avalos, even though he was the one apparently who made the mistake. I don't think he did. Szymanski with a corner. Should have made that interruption there, but nothing came of it. Thierry, there's a thing called a tackle. If you'd like to utilise it, that would have been great. Brahim Diaz, Leao, Theo Hernandez, back to Leao. That was so easily through, but to Curious to note that was actually the first time I've seen them have a shot since we switched to the defensive midfielder rather than the offensive midfielder. And I say defensive midfielder, he's still a roaming playmaker. The roles are effectively the same. They're just pushed back a bit. Alvarez, Ampadu in the way. Avalos, that was concerning. Carlos Eduardo not going to be under that, despite he started going for it and then decided, nah, Tomori can have it. Leao, Teo Hernandez. Again, there's another chance here coming. It looks like Leao's found a spot. That would have been a beautiful goal if it had gone in. But at the very least, the chances they are creating now, the ones that we've seen, are a little bit more requiring of a moment of quality rather than a golden gift. Tomori, Sataro, like the one that was scored. Despodov, Thierry Small actually gets the header there. And was that Markovic who just kicked it straight at Bentancur? He was 3 feet in front of you. I know we usually play in red, but I mean, they're in possession now. You'd think with 3 midfielders we'd be doing a little bit better than this, but Markovic is coming for Brahim Diaz here, which does allow Hesham to stay back a little bit. Hopefully he does. But it's Alvarez on the far side. Thierry Small's his marker, pushes him out wide. Bentancur's in all the space, and he's hit the crossbar. But again, we're forcing them to take those longer range shots. Apparently, Sir Fernandez has made a mistake leading to a goal as well. I don't know how both of them can have a mistake leading to a goal. There's only been 1 goal. Are you implying they both made a mistake to lead to that goal? Because that I can get on board with a little bit more. All Avalos did was let it in. Seeing them play around a bit more again, and Teo Hernandez has broken through the defensive line. Have they switched formation? Because Teo Hernandez seems a lot further advanced. Brahim Diaz, Satalo doesn't get ahead of Carlos Eduardo. No, still playing 4-4-2. Oh, they've just moved Hernandez up and brought on Fernandez. That's not going to get confusing. We'll take off Fernandez for Saunders. We'll take off Hesham for Segovia. Thierry Small's playing well. I'll hold on to the third sub because it's most likely going to be Prieto for Uribe. Markovic to Carlos Eduardo. Out to Castillo. The morale of Ciro Fernandez might just be taking a bit of a hit. So hooking him off, maybe Saunders with a little bit more impetus might create something. Morato heads clear. It's only as far as Satalo. Despodov. Martinez. Raspadori. Alvarez is between our defensive line again. That was the point of putting the defensive midfielder in there. Come on, guys. Pay attention. We're seeing the resulting corner. Szymanski gets on the end of that. Sorry, how did Szymanski get on the end of that? Alvarez has got questions to be answered there. He's got the ball back, though, annoyingly. Naturally, the striker, Despodov. But if this goal from this, I'm going to be furious because Szymanski should have done more with that. Should have really capitalised on Alvarez's laziness there. I'm making a relatively drastic change in these last few moments. I'm taking off Ramiro Uribe and I'm bringing on Avalos in central defence to go 5 at the back. I hope that's the end of this highlight. I don't know what the highlight was for, but Szymanski's actually knackered. He didn't play last game. I don't know why he's so tired. But I kind of just want to shore this up because I'm seeing them having far too many attacks, and there we are. 1-0. We'll take that, and we'll try and turn them over the way we did Leipzig. Well, after a worrying start where Che Adams scored in the first 3 minutes, the Bournemouth game played out the way you'd expect it to. 29 shots we had. 29. We did have a goal disallowed for nonsense reasons, a player being offside that was not at all involved in the goal. I'd have been furious if that decision mattered. Thankfully, it didn't. Bournemouth, by the way, just the 10 points still. I may be wrong, but I think that is Derby's record, isn't it? If they don't get any points between now and the end of the season, they're matching it. Any single point will see them not be as bad. Also, I've just noticed that Jarrod Bowen scored an own goal for West Ham. Still lost 6-3, but amusing. And that confirms their relegation. That might be why Bournemouth were playing so hard. Of course, that's the time when we play them, is the one that confirms their relegation. Why do you always play relegation-threatened sides in the games that matter? Also, how did you injure yourself? I brought you on for the player who said he was injured, and he's not on the injury list. So, for the second leg against AC Milan, Avalos will remain in goal, maybe. Small, Moratu, Ampadu, Tibero returns from his suspension. Of course, Hesham and Markovic in the middle, returning to the combination we've had the remainder of the season. Attacking playmakers back. Szymanski, Saunders, Carlos Eduardo, and Prieto up front. Rewarded Uribe for his performances, blanked in 2 games. Can we just briefly mention the fact that The Den is hosting a Champions League quarter-final? It's a weird world, this one. So we lost against Leipzig 1-0 in the away leg and then beat them 4-1 in the home leg last time out in the Champions League. We've lost to AC Milan 1-0 away from home, and now we've got a home leg too. So fingers crossed for a repeat performance as AC Milan's away kit is just black. That seems... Oh, their third kit's white, isn't it? Teo Hernandez. Tibero gets 2 tackles in, but it still goes back to Teo Hernandez eventually. Because, you know, why would Football Manager ever give the player who does the tackle successfully the ball? They've got a corner. I'm worried they're going to score it. Not yet, anyway. Yeah, it's nonsense like the tackling situations in Football Manager that made the arrival of F1 Manager such a blessed relief. I love Football Manager, but dear God, this version in particular has a bunch of repetitive, continual issues that this point in the cycle are starting to really grind my gears. And the tackling issue has been something that's been prevalent in the last 2 or 3 versions of Football Manager. Markovic, forward to Ampadu, Szymanski, Tiberio puts the ball in. It saunters at the back post and he's not celebrating, but he's not coming up with a warning that it's offside, so it seems to be okay. He may have done a muted celebration, or it looked like he did the chicken dance, actually. Szymanski back to Tiberio and back on the pitch. Saunders at the back post. That's basically the goal that we scored that was disallowed against Bournemouth, but because a player in the middle of the box was offside when the ball went in, apparently that mattered. Didn't even jump the player that was offside. Didn't even interfere in the play as such. Never even made an attempt to get the ball, and it was counted offside. Another similar problem with Football Manager. Raspadori to Leao, and he's gone for it from distance. Now, because it's 1-1 across both legs, I've just encouraged them, and there's a highlight starting. Hesham, Saunders, plays in small. This is lovely movement so far. Small pulls it back for Szymanski. That's a great block. Hesham should get there first, and he does. Morato. Highlight continues. Small. Szymanski. And now it's been blocked Leao. I'm worried about this. Well, this man's like miles offside, but now I'm worried by Brahim Diaz. And now I'm worried by Alvarez again. Pushed out wide. Was about to Despidov. Another great block. How's that gone in the goal? Does that hit Leao, or does he actually strike the ball? Because I was about to celebrate a clearance there. Because this is a fabulous block from Ampadu, and Tiberio kicks it against Leao, because of course he does. And you wonder why I was talking about F1 Manager a moment ago. We've just had a corner and Carlos Eduardo goes close. Don't get me wrong, F1 Manager's got its fundamental issues. They're not game-breaking as such, but I can work around them. We've got the ball back. They've given away possession. Saunders, ooh, he's offside anyway. But yeah, there's a bunch of really problematic fundamental issues in this year's FM, I found. Defensive headers, which is kind of coupled with a crossing issue and set-piece issue. Like, it's the defensive headers that feeds into the crossing and set-piece issue for the AI in particular. Defensive reactions in general. Inspired and motivated, that's where he won for them in the second half. Sorted out, Szymanski put the ball in. Carlos Eduardo's there, and he sent it over again. I think sometimes Carlos Eduardo forgets how tall he is, and the fact that he needs to head down more. Szymanski with another corner. Will Carlos Eduardo keep it down this time? Morato does, and it's a goal from Morato. Did exactly the same against Bournemouth. Back-to-back corner goal games, and it's weird. Ever since they sort of muted down this, apparently, in the patch early in the game cycle, I've not had so much success with corners. I know other people have continued to have great success at corners, but I've not. Until Morato. Szymanski. Well, that's a penalty. Good lord. That's one of the clearest penalties I've ever seen. Of course, we're going to have to wait 5 minutes for the decision, but there we go. Carlos Eduardo, who takes these. Thought Szymanski was a better penalty taker. Carlos Eduardo. That's the way it's going to be then. Ampadu. Tiberio. Hesham in the middle. Hesham, can you find the run? Oh, that's a lovely ball to Prieto, actually. Another corner. We've dragged out the defender. He's fallen for the ruse. Morato does get to it, but put off, I think. Wow, this is just highlight after highlight. Mike Manion to Martinez Lissandro, that one. Teo Hernandez. Raspadori. Tiberio back into Ampadu. Hesham finds Prieto once more. Prieto to Tiberio, who has been booked again. Prieto. Just come back from a suspension. He's already been booked again. Tiberio. Markovic. Hesham. Hesham plays Markovic short, but Markovic makes the most of it. Hesham now in the box. Carlos Eduardo cannot miss from there, surely. Struggle from 12 yards, 16. How far is the penalty spot? Is it 12 or 16? My brain just stopped there for a moment. 12 yards, right? Hesham, but yeah, can't miss from about 4. It's worth noting that Markovic's tackle still didn't go to Markovic. It still went loose. Saunders, that was the highlight, apparently. I see now it's 3-2 aggregate. I don't know what to shout at them. Jerry Small's not had the best of games, so Stuart Smith will come on. Markovic himself hasn't had the best of games, but I feel silly to change anyone else. This might be more a tiredness factor as the game runs on. Just keep an eye on those levels. No one's actually dipping down massively. I've just noticed we've had 3.67 XG. I know there's a penalty in that, but bloody hell. We've had 29 shots. We had more shots against AC Milan than we did Bournemouth. Only 8 on target, of course, but I'm delighted but baffled. How many times did we hit the woodwork? Stop telling me the statistic. Oh, Man City beat Liverpool away from home. That was the worst case scenario. 2 games in hand, but 9 million though. Lovely. Man United in the semi-finals. Szymanski, by the way. Like, I knew I needed this player for set pieces in general. It's only 16 corners. Like, he's great at them, but he's not like James Ward-Prowse. But he's turning out to be some of the best 11 million I've ever spent. I don't even know whether I want to bring in the FA Cup semi-final now. I think I will. Next episode, Man City and West Ham. Following episode, both Man United semi-final legs. Simple as that. It's weird. We're in the Champions League semi-finals, somehow, And I was going to say during this episode, because we're on course for effectively Europa League, I was going to be happy with the Europa League next year because I felt like we'd have a better chance of winning that. And we're in the semi-finals of the Champions League. Why are my team trying to prove me wrong in that further? Why am my team not performing in the Premier League, but performing in the competition that I didn't think we'd be good in? My team are an enigma wrapped in a riddle, apparently, or whatever the phrase is. So then we'll see if we get to another FA Cup final next time out. It is Manchester City, who are terrifying, but underperforming sort of in the league. If you enjoyed this episode, do like, comment, subscribe. You know the deal. Again, apologies for the break. I hope you understand that F1 Manager was an important new arrival to the management scene, and I wanted to make the most of it. Those, of course, are continuing over the course of the week. In fact, we should finish the F1 Manager season in this week's uploads. Only 4 races remain, and there will be 4 uploads this week. So keep an eye out for those if you're interested in those as well. But for FM, as I say, FA Cup Summer Final next time out. I'll see you then. Ta-ra.